There we go. I'm live. But I think you could bring it down just a little bit.
Bring the whole thing down?
Just a little. Well, just a little bit. Not. Okay, that's good. All right, I'm live. Isaac, I'm gonna have you go make sure. Maybe refresh. Command R will do it. Or go back out and go back in. Oh, somebody's here. I can't even see. Okay, so somebody joined, so that I hope we're live. I'm just checking audio right now. Hello. Oh, hi, Dorothy. Good. Dorothy's on. Dorothy, can you hear me? Just want to make sure this is good before I rock and roll. Does it... hi there. Yeah. Hi, Aaron. I think that was Aaron. I'm going to put my glasses on. Hi, Aaron. Okay, so you hear me. Oh, good. Okay. All right, so I guess they can hear me. And I decided to come over to YouTube for this impromptu because of the quality in the quality of video is a little better than Facebook. So and I got this pretty new dress yesterday. It's kind of like I don't know if you can see, but it's like very 20s, so I really like it. Anyway, okay, so thank you for joining me for this impromptu, very, very impromptu Happy Hippy Hebrew Girl show. I was not meaning to do a show this year at all, but something happened this morning to me when I was editing the graph, the narrow path graph. Is it?
That sound, the picture quality is
not too good.
Let me see if I can get it up on here.
It does take a little bit of time. How's the picture quality, Dorothy?
Not on anymore.
Good quality, Shauna says. And it looks good to her. Okay. So it looks like it's fine, Isaac. At least for now.
So it looks like it's fine. Yeah, looks good on my phone.
Okay.
It was not,
cool.
It's not good on the computer.
All right. So, thank you, ladies, for coming over from the Facebook group to YouTube. The video quality in the end is better over here on YouTube, and I have a broader audience in YouTube anyway, and wanted to share this with everyone because I'm so excited. Okay, I have been, and Isaac can testify to this, I have been jumping up and down out of my skin all morning long about something that I feel the Ruach downloaded to me, and I just have to share it. I mean, when you go mining for gold, which I wasn't even mining, I was just taking basically account of the gold that I already have. Like when I say that, I mean the treasures that Papa has already given me. I have put it into this graph, this narrow path graph. And so I was just basically taking account of all the treasures so that when I went to print it for Shauna and Dia, those are the only two that so far have bought the package. But so far, I wanted to take account of what treasures I had, and I wanted to make sure that they were all, well said, and if I needed to add anything and that sort of thing. And so I got to the point in the graph, and this is a printout kind of the graph. It's very, very small. The graph is like huge. It's 12 feet long. But I got to the part of the graph. So this is like the first part, the second part. I mean, it just goes on and on. It's pretty long. But I got to the end of the graph, and right here. So I have it posted in the ladies group as the picture for this show. I got to this part right here. And in this part, okay, so the graph basically takes you all the way from the fall, or the creation of angels, through the fall and what happened there between Adam and Chava. That's the part that I actually added into the graph between yesterday and today. I've worked many hours on it. This morning I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to finish editing it, and I worked on it for about 4 hours before this epiphany came. Yesterday I worked on it for quite a while, and then Friday I worked on it as well, trying to get it ready to make sure that I was proud of it, to make sure that it had everything that I know in this graph about the plan of salvation. Anyway, so I got to this part at the end of the graph, which is all about the second Melchizedek contract. It's all about the king coming back and reestablishing paradise and stuff. And prior to that, what happened at the cross? What actually was done away with? What did that look like? Well, I get to this point. Okay, this is oh, it's so cool. Okay, I have to build the background for you to fully understand this, I think, because I know some of you might understand the background here, and others may not understand it. So, okay, so this is so impromptu. I don't have a script. I have nothing. I just know where I just know the piece of the goal. It's not even a nugget. It's like this part right here that I just got was like a gold bar. It was like the, shebang. This is like the big, how do you say that when you like find the big thing? Anyway, okay. So I can't walk you through the whole entire graph. You need to buy this graph so that you can walk through this graph. Okay. This is one of the reasons I feel it's so important for you to have this graph. But I want you to know right now, this is what I want to share with you, that this beginning part of our story, I never really understood how sin happened. Like, that was always kind of a mystery to me. Like, it was kind of glumped into, well, Adam took the apple that Eve gave him and they ate and then they sinned. There was no really context. There was no like explanation for what happened. And so just so you know, when you make posts, I love it. I love seeing those posts. I'm going to go back. I have to get my glasses to see them. So I'm going to go back and look at your posts. If you need anything in particular right now, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, all right. Let me stay on track here. So I was always really super, I don't know if you felt this way, but I sure did. I kind of felt like there was this haze over the actual technical parts of salvation. Like, how did it go wrong? And then how did it go right? Like, how is it made right? So you have to understand where it went wrong first before you can understand how it was made right, how the way is made through Yeshua. So when you look at what happened at the fall, it's so much more huge than we all really have thought before. You have in, you know what, let me even get you the verses. Let's see if I can read them. Oh my, it's so small I cannot read them. Okay, I actually have the verses right here in the graph, but it's too small to read. But basically what you have is no, I have glasses, thank you. I just couldn't. But you can turn that down right there because I can hear myself echo. All right, I'm going to try to unpack this super quickly for you, but what happened at the fall was that Adam actually did something prior to being at the tree with Chava. Okay, and you find this in the scriptures in Genesis right there where you see Yehovah commanded Adam to not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, period. He didn't say any more. That's all he said, right? He said, do not eat. You can eat from every other tree in the garden. You can eat from everything else, but do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? Okay, and then in the very next breath, you have to look at this, people. In the very next breath, he says, but it's not good for man to be alone. I will make an Ezer Kenegdo for him, okay? So unpacking what Ezer Kenegdo is a huge subject. And it is incredibly powerful, incredibly liberating for women to understand what they were created for and what they're created to do, right? And what their beauty is for. I think it is so important for a man to understand what an Ezer Kenegdo is, what Papa intended an Ezer Kenegdo for, and what her role is in his life, okay? It's super important. I mean, she is his life saver. Ezer meaning basically like a lifesaver kind of thing, as in Ezer. The only time that you see in all of the Hebrew scriptures where the word Ezer is in this one area where Yahweh describes woman that he's going to give to man as an Ezer. Everywhere else that word is used is when Israel is screaming out for Papa to deliver them. They are drowning, they are almost through, and they scream out for Yehovah, be my Ezer, save me, okay? So you see in context that the Ezer idea is that she is going to somehow be part of saving Adam, okay? And then you have the Kenegdo part. Kenegdo means to go in front of, to go before. So before as in a guide, right? So she's going to, with her beauty, because Isaac, but because man was created to be, super attracted to the woman's beauty, like unexplainably attracted to. It's kind of crazy how that works. And his eyes are going to be glued on her, but her job was to be glued to Papa, right? So if she's worshiping Yehovah Elohim, then Adam would be worshiping Yehovah Elohim because he'd be following Hava into proper worship, right? So this is the kind of the scenario prior the tree issue, okay? So when you get to the tree and Hava is there with the snake and Adam is standing right there, we can see that she actually responds to the snake's question. He says, what was the command? Because she's like, well, Papa told us not to. He said, well, what was the command? And so she actually repeats, you see it in scripture, she actually repeats the command that says, Yahweh said, we are not to eat from the tree of life, we are not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or we will die, and we're not even to touch it. Okay, so I don't have my glasses right here, but that's the idea. She says, this is a command, and then there's an added command that Adam was not told. So Yehovah never told Adam to not touch it. Okay, that was an added command. So here's this woman going up to the tree. Here's this woman, Hava. She's like she's talking to the snake. Unfortunately, she's got in his trap, and he's like saying, well, what did he say? And she repeats the command, and then the added part that Adam must have given her. Okay, so I can imagine, just like Skip Moen says. He's like Skip Moen in Guardian Angel. He talks about this. And this is where I'm understanding this, where the light came on with me when I looked at this story. Adam's like, man, I love her so much. I love Hava so much. I don't want her to ever die. I don't want her to be hurt. So I'll tell her what Papa's command was, and I'll just add just a little bit extra to it to just assure that she won't actually, won't go around that tree. Let's not even touch the tree. But Papa never said that, right? Papa never said that. Adam added to Papa's law out of probably a good heart and a good place, but he added to his law. He lied to Hava. Okay, and here's the clincher. She's standing at the tree. Adam's standing at the tree. The snake is there. The snake is leaning on the tree. He's playing in the tree. He's wrapped around the tree. Whatever the case, he's not dying. Okay, so she obviously looks at him and goes, well, Papa must have been wrong, because if we weren't supposed to touch it because that very day that we touch it, we will die, the snake's not dead. The snake's not dying. So maybe perhaps Papa was wrong. Maybe, there's something here I should listen to. I should listen to the snake about this. So in the effort, she wants to be a better Ezer Kenegdo, right? She wants to be a better guide for Adam because she loves Adam. So the snake says, hey, I have some information for you that is going to help you become a better guide. And she's like, oh, once you get past that idea that the snake was lying, then she could listen to him, right? And then as soon as she starts listening to him and she goes, yeah, I think that's a good idea. She questions the design that Papa just made and just said was good. He just gave his stamp of approval on it. And so she starts to question the design because the snake has something else to share. Oh, okay, well, maybe Papa didn't give me everything that I deserved. So what is totally and unbelievably, like, hands down blows you away is that Adam is standing right there. It says so in the scriptures. He's standing right there. Now, here's what he knows. He knows that he lied to her. He knows that he added to Papa's law. And he knows that the snake is lying, right? So he remains silent. Why? And I've always thought, okay, his sin was that he remained silent. Well, why did he remain silent? This is what started to blow me away. This isn't the gold nugget, the gold bar I'm getting to, but I have to build this foundation for you to understand the gold bar that's coming. But he would, if he had said something right there, if he had acknowledged right at that moment and called the snake out on the snake's lie, he would have had to admit that he was lying, that he had lied to Hava before. So you see what I'm saying? So Adam stood silent because silence was self-preserving. Okay, so number one, he adds to Papa's law, and then he decides to self-preserve. He preserves himself in the face of honesty, right? Because here we have Hava right there, his love, the love of his life, is getting tempted by the snake, and Adam knows that the snake isn't dying because he's touching the tree, because Papa never said that if you touch the tree you will die. Okay, so Hava is being funneled into this web, into this, into this moment of, into Hasatan's trap, into the adversary's trap, and Adam does nothing to stop it, because if he had said anything, he would have been revealing that he himself was a liar, that he himself withheld the information from Hava, that he himself added to Papa's commands. Oh, that blows me away. That absolutely, completely blows me away. And then you have the whole thing unravel right there. All right, so you have adding to Papa's laws, you have self-preservation, and then you have direct disobedience. In the end, he said not to eat of it, and then they ate of it. So you have Adam adding to the law. You have Adam self-preserving because now he's going to be found out to be, not a good guy. He's going to be found out to have been a liar. And then you have the whole disobedience. Adam disobeyed by eating the apple. Then you have on Hava's side, Hava, she didn't add to the law, and in the New Testament, in the Brit Hadashah, it says that she was deceived, but Adam sinned willfully. Okay, so she was deceived. She's like, I want to be a better Ezer Kenegdo. So it was all deception. But she also was self-preserving because she wanted to be the best Ezer Kenegdo she could be. She wanted more than what Papa had made her to be. So there was this self-preservation, this self-centeredness, okay, which is completely is not other-centered love. It's completely opposite love. So love is defined as other-centeredness, okay? And we have the everlasting law of love up here. In my graph, you'll see this, the royal law of love in a purple bar, and it goes all the way across the graph, 144 inches. It goes all the way across, because that is, and with an arrow that way and an arrow that way, it is the everlasting law of love. It never, ever, ever goes away. All right, and so when you break that everlasting law of love, that's when the death penalty comes, because you cannot break the character of Yehovah. It's not even his character, it's who he is. It is love. And so if you begin to operate opposite love, then instantly you can't you just don't live. You can't live because nothing can survive that is not other-centered. Nothing can survive in the under the umbrella of love, in the presence of love, when it is other than love. Then when it's selfish, when it's self-centered, when it's self-preserving. Okay, so Hasatan, Lucifer, broke that law of love, and there is absolutely no salvation plan for angels. Interesting. That's in here. That's in this graph as well. All right. So you see here in the fall that you have two people started. The whole sin started with Adam. Adam lying, adding to Papa's law, and then actually continuing propagating the lie by not coming forward and admitting it, and then self-preserving, and then disobeying, direct disobedience. And Hava, same thing. She didn't change Papa's law, but she self-preserved, want to be the best Ezer, and then she blatantly disobeyed. She ate of the apple. Okay, and interesting that whole meal there, the eating of the apple, I am seeing it as a covenant-confirming meal with the adversary, because what they're doing is Papa actually gave them the title deed to the planet, and in this whole exchange that happened there at the tree, and that covenant-confirming meal, basically with death, they handed over that title deed. Okay, so there's a whole lot here to this story that I have all this graph that goes from that moment clear until Yeshua, right? So all of this shows what happened, the Levitical law, how that plays into it, when it was done away with, all this other jazz. Okay, but what struck me this morning, this is what I wanted to share with you. You ready? Okay, so now we know what happened at the fall. And it's wild, because every time I think that I know everything, or I think I've got all the information, or that, I don't want to say it that way, I don't feel like I know everything, but like when I feel like I have everything I need to know to understand this story, the plan of redemption, and I think, okay, I finally digested it, I've finally owned it, I can read, I know it like the back of my hand. Then all of a sudden there's something wonderfully new that Papa brings to it that seems to be an incredibly crucial thing to learn. So here I just want to make sure, Isaac, hey Isaac, can you check and just make sure all the sound and everything's, oh, okay, good. All right. All right. Now, I bet you that men in general will not like this fact pointed out, but you have to, be willing to be teachable and obedient, no matter whether you're a woman or a man. We're both responsible for, Adam and Hava were both responsible for this, but more importantly is that Papa is responsible for the path to get out of this, the path to the happily ever after, the path to restoring what his original intent was with paradise. Okay, so, and I love this. This is where my paradise restored, that's the end of the graph. So it's all about this journey of YHVH Elohim taking us from creation, paradise, all the way through to paradise restored, and how he did it. It's just an amazing story. All right, so here's the gold, okay? So during unleavened bread, we know that we're supposed to eat of Yeshua to have Yeshua in us, right? And the reason is because he is perfect, and we need to eat of him to get his perfectness in us so that we can withstand the all-consuming fire at the end, right? So we can pass through that judgment. And the only way we're going to pass through that judgment is to walk in his footsteps, just like he passed through. And we're going to, he passed through death and came up resurrect on the other side. That's the path that we're going to follow, okay? So what blew me away this morning is that I was looking at this part where it says, how is Yeshua the way? All right, and I'm explaining it. I'm explaining it in my graph. So he's the kinsman redeemer and all that, right? But figuratively, I have known, I have thought, the scripture says he's the second Adam. So he was taken back to the Garden of Eden. He was taken back there to redo that test. Okay, the test that Adam failed. All right, so let's just make sure we remember, what did Adam do? What is it that he failed at? What did he do? Well, he added to Papa's law, right? He lied about it. And then he self-preserved, continuing the lie. And then he directly disobeyed, right? Let us look at the second Adam. This is what is so important, and why he's called the second Adam. He got, figuratively, in the mythical reality of things, taken back to the Garden of Eden and got a chance to redo that test, all right, as a fully human person, which is the whole like craziness of Elohim descending and becoming human. There was no other way. I mean, Yahweh had given, he'd given the planet and all of creation to humans, not to demons. So he had to get the title deed for the planet back into the hands of a human. Okay? So the only way to do this was to have a perfect human. All right, somebody who fully was the image of Yehovah, Elohim. Okay, somebody who really bore that image perfectly. There is no one else that has borne that image perfectly. No one else can. Prior to Yeshua, no one could. And, Yahweh says you must be perfect, or Yeshua says you must be perfect as your Father is in heaven. We need to eat of Yeshua in order to be that. But Yeshua was the only perfect one. Crazy. And so his descent into humanity, bearing that, and then passing every single test that came his way during his time here, earned him the opportunity to go back to the garden, mythically speaking, and redo that test that Adam failed. And in so doing, when he passed that test, Yahweh was able to take that title deed from Hasatan and give it back into the hands of a human being. Super important. If that hadn't happened, the title deed would stay forever in Hasatan's hands, in the adversary's hands. Okay, but just let's look again. I'm going to say this again. So he's called the second Adam. Why? Okay, this is what blew me away this morning. Okay, Adam added to Papa's law. Yeshua never added to Papa's law. Never. In fact, that was his one hugest biff with the Pharisees and the religious leaders, because they were adding to the law. They were adding to it, and he kept saying, stop it. He's like, no, do not add to the law. So, and then when it says that he brought a new commandment, okay, so that's the one area, that's the one verse that Christians go wild on, that he brought a new thing. No, he didn't bring a new thing. If you look at that verse in the Hebrew, and I actually did a teaching on it when in one of the Happy Hippy Girl shows, I think season 1, we talked about new wineskins, new wine and new wineskins. It actually was taught, what it says in there is new in quality love. It's a new in quality love. It's not something new that he made. It's going to be that love that was the original. It's going to go away. It's going to go through the roof because of the gift of the Ruach, because what Yeshua is going to give his bride is going to take it through the roof. All right. So here you have Adam adding to Papa's law, and here you have Yeshua not adding to Papa's law. Over here you have Adam. What else did he do? Oh, I wish I could see all the little notes. Oh, that's you, Isaac. I like that. That's cool. Okay, so over here you have Adam self-preserving. He was preserving himself. That's why he stood silent, because he's like, I don't want to be found out. It's better to, what do you say, Isaac? What do we say sometimes when, it's better to, like, I think King Solomon even said it, it's better to say nothing than to be known a fool, sort of idea. So Adam preserved self and he stood silent, right? What did Yeshua do? Oh, he did not self-preserve. He self-sacrificed. He did not preserve himself at all. He was the sacrificial lamb. He came to give. No greater love has no anyone who than he who lays down his life for a friend, right? That's what he said. So he's telling us that love is other-centered. Love will lay down their life. Love is self-sacrificing. Okay, not self-preserving. All right? And then Adam disobeyed the law. He actually ate. No, he probably had Yah's words ringing in his ears as he was biting into that apple and having that little covenant-confirming meal there with death itself. Yeshua, not once. He never, ever disobeyed. You know, even at the cross, he said, "Thy will be done, not mine." So, wow. Here you have two strikingly different Adams. The first Adam, you know, not just sinned. I mean, it's so easy to just say, yeah, he sinned, and then Yeshua didn't sin, was a spotless lamb. But what I was so moved on this morning was that I saw why this one sinned, how he sinned. And then I saw this one and how he obeyed, how this one was the Adam that was going to get us paradise restored. And this one is the Adam that gave paradise away. So I'm just blown away. I was dancing in the house all morning. I've been focused. I can hardly eat. I'm just like so excited about this little, you know, it's not little. It's a huge like understanding of, you know, the picture of the fall, picture of what Adam and Hava did, and a picture of how Yeshua restored to us what Adam, the first Adam, gave away. And how that works, you know. And that's one thing that I absolutely love about my graph, is that it helps take you through the operational, the technical parts of how salvation works. And I don't think you can really, and I don't think you can begin to become a mature believer until you understand how the plan of salvation works, and to be able to give Yeshua all the glory that he deserves, to be able to give Yehovah all the glory he deserves, and to be able to give the Ruach HaKodesh all the glory she deserves. I don't think you can give them the glory they deserve until you understand the plan and how it was executed perfectly, and where we are in that story and what is going to happen. If you see the past and you say, wow, executed perfectly, we know that the end is going to be executed perfectly as well, and paradise will be restored because of the work of Yeshua. So as you're looking forward to Shavuot coming up, this is what Shavuot is all about, is this plan. You know, you have the first contract in here. Let me see if I can find you have the first contract in here, the bridge of the Levitical law, all the way to the second contract with the second Adam, Yeshua HaMashiach. So I am undone again. I love it when the Ruach HaKodesh just moves on me. Isaac was saying that perhaps, you know, when the Ruach moves, it's like actually turns into material energy in my body. I don't know. But I don't know. I hope that you can see that this is an incredible story. You have Adam, who added to Papa's law. He self-preserved and he disobeyed the law. And you have over here Yeshua, who's the second Adam, who self-sacrificed, who obeyed. Gosh, I just want to cry. And who did not add to Papa's law. So I see three things that happened there in the garden at the fall. I see how Yeshua went back to the garden and did those three things right. So, you know, when you look at adding commandments, I mean, Isaac was, how are you doing? Isaac, what was that? You explained to me, or an example that you gave me this morning?
I'm sorry, an example of what?
So you were giving me an example of the adding to the law and how that looked in kind of today's world.
Oh, like with the girls? That example of here?
No, not that one.
Or the way the Pharisees did, or the rabbis
Right.
built walls around the law.
Yes.
Like the law says.
Come here. Okay, there's Isaac. Okay, so
Like,
go ahead.
Well, like the law says you shall not commit adultery.
Right.
And so then the rabbis want to build the hedge or the fence around the law to keep everybody safe.
Right.
So they say don't even talk to a woman.
Don't even talk to a
who
woman.
is not your wife.
Right.
You know.
So that's adding, because he didn't say don't talk to a woman. He said don't commit adultery, that's an addition.
Yeah, it's just like when we say to our I mean, I think we can understand where Adam may have been coming from if you think about how we are with our kids, you know, when we, or somebody, we say, like, you know, don't touch that.
Right.
We're attached. You know, we say, okay, I don't want you to touch that or eat that. And then as a second thought, we might say, in fact, don't even look at it.
Right.
You know?
Right. We're adding to what
Don't
we
even
just
think
said.
about it. We add these little things, and we don't even think twice
Right.
about it, that we're actually adding to a law when we do that.
Yeah, I was explaining to Hadassah earlier this morning. I was trying to explain to her this concept, and you were helping me. But basically, we were saying, okay, Hadassah, it's like if Daddy said, "Don't go out the door while we're gone."
Yeah, if I said, okay, I'm leaving the kids at home, and we're heading out, and we're like, okay, you know, don't answer the door while we're gone. Don't go outside. Something bad might happen.
Right.
You know. And then, as I'm heading out the door, I actually just
I say,
Rebecca,
like a different person.
Oh yeah,
says to me.
Rebekah says, you know, in fact, don't even touch the doorknob.
Yeah, that's what. So I would say, okay, Hadassah, while we're gone, don't go out. Or Isaac would say, you get me confused.
I said, don't go out the door.
Right. And then I would tell Hadassah after he left, I would say, Hadassah, don't even touch that door.
Yeah.
And so don't even touch the doorknob. That's adding to what Isaac already said to her. And that's what Adam did. Out of probably a good place, because he loved Hava so much, he probably out of a good place was saying, you know what, let's just build an extra fence around this law and just make sure that you don't go anywhere near that tree. Don't touch it, you know. And I wonder if, you know, you wish maybe you would have said, don't even look at it. I don't know. But that's adding. So when we look at like religion today and man-made religion, I mean, good grief. They are adding constantly to his law. And we look at the Levitical priesthood, and they have taken that Levitical priesthood, while it's inoperational because of the work of Yeshua and bringing that Melchizedek contract. Now they're adding more law to that. And I mean, you look at the Pharisees back in Yeshua's day, and they were constantly adding. So I just find that stunning. Does it hurt your feelings, Isaac, to have that pointed out, like as a man? Like, does that bother you? Because, like, it hit me so hard today, like an epiphany, that Adam, oh my gosh, you added to Papa's commandments. You disobeyed him. Let's see, you added, you preserved self, and then you disobeyed. What did that feel like when I pointed that out?
Well, you know, maybe it would have at one point, but I think I've joked about it enough times where, as we're talking about the collective, you know, I'm part of the collective man, the collective Adam.
Right.
And enough times I've said, hey, Rebekah, you know, I'm sorry about the whole thing. You know, I accept full responsibility.
Yeah,
you know, it's all my fault. And, you know, and I think I've kind of half jokingly, you know, said that enough times that I'm okay with it. I like how you pointed out earlier how that's an important part of the story to understand, but even more important is how there was a way made to save us.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think it's so. What struck me was that this good grief, this girl from Idaho who's like doesn't have a master's in anything, that Papa would download something like this, but you know, to understand the technical part, I'm so not a technical person, but to understand this, but then to take it quickly from understanding the technical to, okay, so here's the path. And I think that's the power right there, is where he made a way. And that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just waiting for him to come back and get us. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so hopefully that I didn't ruin the audio on that. Okay, so just want to say thank you for joining me for my little Oh My Yah epiphany. I think that my heart is swelled up with joy to understand how Yeshua is actually the second Adam, how that actually works, and understanding that is so important to answering questions that our heart has over this whole spiritual walk. And I hope that you will take my offer. Because of this epiphany, I went on today to take my Shavuot package, essentials package down and make my discount no more available because I didn't sell any. I sold one. But I'm going to go ahead and leave my package, my Shavuot essential package, up until Friday. I think if you order by Friday with the 12% discount, I will still be able to get the ketubah and this graph printed for you in time for Shavuot. So the earlier you order, I will place those orders as soon as I can at the press and have them shipped to you. So there's going to be a link here in the video. I will supply you with where to order this very, very long. It's not this big. It's like, you can read it, okay? It's like this big. Like it's 16 inches or 18. I can't remember. I think it's 18. Anyway, by 144 long. Huh?
And it's color.
And it's full color. Yes, thank you, Isaac. So it's full color. It's beautiful. It has, red in the appropriate places and green in the appropriate places and blue in the appropriate places as you move through this path, this yellow path that I have highlighted here for you to understand the plan of salvation. I mean, what could be more important, right? So I hope that you get this today. By Friday, I hope that you can teach others from it. I hope it makes your life as a believer and as a Hebrew just so much more full, and that your heart swells with praise for the one who did this. Man, someday I want to, I just want to say thank you to him, like in person. I will say thank you to him in person. For now, I'm just saying thank you this way. And I feel like this is an important, very, very important thing to get into your hands. So I'll provide the link here as soon as I'm done here. I'll go throw a link up there. All right, everyone? So shalom, and thank you for joining me in my impromptu happy hippie Hebrew girls show. I don't know if you can see, but my dress it's very 20s style. I thought it was super cute. So anyway, have a wonderful day. May Yahweh bless your day, and may he fill you with eyes to see and ears to hear. May you respond appropriately to his call, and may you be prosperous in all things. And may he turn his face towards you, and may he be pleased with you, and may he smile when he looks upon you. And in the end, I hope to get to meet you at the great wedding feast. Shalom. Yay!